This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this StockBox interview.
Coinsilium Group have provided an update on Otomato Web3 agent protocol, a portfolio company developing a non-code platform for automating on-chain and off-chain tasks. The Otomato XYZ platform is now live for whitelisted users with a full public launch set for Q2 2025. Well, joining us today to discuss what this is all about, from Coinsilium, we have the CEO, Eddie Travier, and from Otomato, we have the co-founder and CEO, Clement. So welcome both to you. How are you doing?
Hi, thanks. Thanks for receiving us. I'm doing great.
It's good to be speaking to you. Good to be speaking to you both. So, let's just talk a bit about Otomato, first of all, the project itself. So maybe Clement, you can take this. Just tell us a little bit about how it came about, what it does. I understand it's sort of automated solutions in DeFi management and lots of other things in that space. But just give us a bit of an introduction to what it's all about.
Yeah, sure. So about a year ago, I met Dylan, which is my co-founder, and in a conference, a crypto conference. And we were talking about all the on-chain bots I was building for my personal usage. So, liquidation, sniping, arbitrage, all that kind of operations. And he was like, I need to be able to do the same thing. I want to do the same thing. And we all know that's not that simple, right? So I had to explain all the technical barrier he had to come over to build those bots. Such as how the Ethereum virtual machine works, which is basically the software that runs Ethereum, how to secure private key for your bot to use it, because if private key gets compromised, you won't have any bot because you won't have any remaining funds. Understand how to interact with protocols, so crypto protocols, etc., which is not always easy. So with all those things, we identified something, actually. And we were like, let's launch a Zapier-like platform, but for crypto. So in Web2, you have Zapier with visual scripting. You can automate any Web2 related flow. We wanted to build exactly the same thing for crypto, basically. So decided to build Otomato, and we went a bit further today. We took the agent route. So basically, today on Otomato, you can just build your own agent. Coming soon, you will be able to integrate AI, so your agents will just take decisions based on some inputs. And we are building a marketplace as well. So if you just create nice agents, you can share it and earn from that.
Okay, so it came about from you sort of creating your own things, basically, at home. It sounds too simple, but then you sort of business opportunity, and then with your business partner you effectively turned it into a business. So you mentioned a couple of things like sniping, arbitrage, etc. I guess these are all little agent bots that you were creating and have indeed create. So could you just tell us a little bit about what autonomous agents or bots are? We hear that term quite a lot, and what the significance is really going forward.
So this concept is not crypto native, right? It all came with AI companies. So first building, we saw LLMs, right, which are not AI agents. But then if you loop, what we call looping on LLMs, you can achieve the AI agent that we all call. So basically the definition that everyone knows is an AI agent is an autonomous system that receives data, makes rational decision, and acts based on those decisions, basically. So in the crypto context, it can do a lot of stuff. What we saw a lot, so it came I think in early November, maybe late October, we started to discuss AI agents for crypto, at least in the mainstream, let's say. And the most popular frameworks to create AI agents are ELIZA, and used to be and still are ELIZA and Virtuals, that you might have heard of. So an example is AI XBT, which is based on virtuals, and that's this Twitter account that tweets all day long about crypto. It basically digests all the information that he reads on-chain and off-chain, so Twitter accounts, etc., aggregates everything and just tweets thoughts about the market. Yeah, I think it's probably the most known AI agent today. So then we saw let's say an iteration on that, and some people built, let's say, ChatGPT crypto products. So you have a chat interface, you can talk with it, you can ask about on-chain information. For example, I don't know, what is the current lending rates on USDC and Aave on Base? It will just return as chat the lending rate, and then you can ask to do action. So deposit all my USDC on Base on Aave. It will prompt a wallet interaction. You can accept and it deposits the funds. Okay. So that's the early, let's say, agents stage of crypto.
And how it just finally, before I move on to Eddie, so just as an example there, when it fits into crypto, it's AI bots, agents that basically interface with the crypto world to effectively automate tasks for you in what otherwise could be actually quite fairly complex unless you really know what you're doing with crypto. You know, I've done a little bit myself, and sometimes it can be really hard to get your cash into something else and move it around and get it out. So this is that the idea, really?
So yeah, this idea is what you're saying, and what those ChatGPT for crypto are doing is not really automating, but it's mostly UX, simplifying the interactions of blockchain, because that's so hard, especially in DeFi.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Clement. So Eddie, then, the significance to Otomato and the launch of Otomato XYZ to Coinsilium. What's the significance of that? Who at the moment can use it, and what's the significance to Coinsilium?
Well, it's pretty open. So if anyone is viewing this, I think they can request an invite through some of the social media channels of Otomato. They have their own reasons behind the whitelist, which Clement can explain later. But basically, it's kind of a soft launch, but it's still quite open to anyone who asks to try it. I think the significance is a bit multifold. So you have the fact that, interestingly, we can see that the length of time it takes for projects to go to something usable is actually getting shorter. You know, we have been in this space for a long time, as you know, for more than 10 years now. So we see that the time to market is getting shorter, which is obviously good news for investors like us. Because, you know, as Clement was saying, you know, they've been working on this for about a year, which is quite a short time to get a launch of a automation platform like Otomato. And also in the announcement, we also noticed, we also informed the readers that Otomato has very, very positive signs coming. So, for example, they won the proof of pitch competition at NFT Paris, which is quite a reputable one, and there were a lot of contestants. So there is an appetite both on the investor side, because I guess the jury was mostly crypto investors, funds, and other large companies in the space, but also on the user side, there is appetite for this type of products. As you were saying, it's not easy to use. Also, you don't want to stay 24 hours in front of your screen. So there are many benefits to using automation protocols or applications. So the significance for us is, first, they are performing well in terms of timing. The product is there. It seems solid. They're winning competitions, meaning people understand what they're doing and there is an appetite for it. So now we are really looking forward to the next stages of development of this platform.
Okay, good. And you were an early backer, effectively, as Coinsilium is a sort of a venture builder in this space. So just to remind listeners, I think Coinsilium invested around $75,000 via the SAF. That's the agreement for the future tokens, and you have an option to acquire an additional $150,000 US dollars in future tokens, but you also get a 7.5% revenue share until that token is listing. So effectively, once the revenues start, Coinsilium will start getting a share of that revenue up until the point that the token launches, which I'll ask Clement about in a moment. But this is how Coinsilium looks to crystallize certain opportunities, isn't it? This is effectively how the business model works. I mean, could you just explain that again, really, and why you decided to back Otomato and how Coinsilium shareholders stand to benefit from what you've seen and invested in it at an early stage.
Yeah, so well, the reasons why we back Otomato are, I would say, the usual reasons when we back projects. First of all, we know the founders, or at least I've met Clément, but I'm more familiar with Dylan, who was in Singapore for a while, where I'm based. We tend to invest only in people we know, we trust, we meet. We already have quite a large network, so we use it in that sense. So I've known Dylan a while before we decided to invest, and at the same time we like DeFi, but we also very much aware that, for example, a DeFi exchange, for example, or a decentralized exchange like a DEX or a DeFi platform is quite a large scale project today. So it's very interesting for us to go into DeFi through kind of a different model where there is a great utility added to the user, great utility added to the protocols. Clément can explain how many DeFi platforms and blockchains or layer 2s are interested to work with Otomato. So we see this as a kind of a great tool for us to go into DeFi without the necessity of deploying the capital for a full-scale DeFi platform, which is not what Otomato is doing. They work with DeFi platforms. And of course, we avoid as well certain risks which are inherent to DeFi platforms. So it's interesting because this deal, the way we have structured this deal, and obviously we've been discussing with the team and Clément, is kind of the fruit of our lessons in the space. Our lessons in the space have been that in general, it takes always longer to go to a token generation event than planned. So that's why we introduced the revenue share, because we know that the token could come later than initially discussed with the team. We also know that we're coming early, so we're taking a risk. But if the project does very well, then we don't want to be limited in terms of how many tokens we get in the future. That's why we have an option. So this really crystallizes we're trying to cover all our angles in a way, so that if the project does very well, we can exercise the option, and at the same time, if the project does well but is pushing back for any reason, market sentiment reason or other, the token, then we still have a revenue share in place until then.
Okay, and when it comes time to perhaps when the token launch indeed does happen, I mean that sort of crystallizes that initial investment from Coinsilium. What happens then? Do you cease the sort of interaction or partnership with Otomato, or does that continue? Do you look to crystallize and then look for the new opportunities?
Well, in our case, which is another announcement we've made, we now have a strategic advisory board for helping us to manage our crypto assets, Coinsilium's crypto assets, and Clément is part of that board. So we're looking forward to a long-term relationship with Clément on that angle.
Okay.
He's a bit modest, when he described what he's been doing. He has been in this space for a long time and doing thousands of transactions. So he has a very, very unique experience and insight into complex DeFi transactions that we don't have. So we hope to pick his brain for as long as we can in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, when the token is out, we will also help in other ways. Yeah. But no, we have a vesting period, etc. So we'll be collaborating and helping and supporting Otomato in the future, as we have done with our other portfolio companies.
Okay, perfect. That makes sense. So the partnership will sort of continue and help you manage your Coinsilium treasury. So that's good to hear. So Clément, if I can just ask you then about this token sale that's sort of on the horizon here. I mean, just give us some rationale as to behind the token sale. Why it's worth doing, what the attraction will be, and sort of its utility, perhaps in the network. Why people will find it valuable.
Yeah. So I can't really talk about the token sale as of today because nothing is public, and I'm not sure that's the time to announce it. But maybe I can give some hints about the utility of the token within the Otomato system. So first of all, Otomato is, so we said, I said at the beginning in introduction, Otomato is like a Zapier-like platform. Otomato is more than that. That's an infrastructure. So we have this Zapier-like platform on an infrastructure, and Otomato is actually the infrastructure. So any project can build on top of Otomato. Otomato will generate revenues based on that. If a project wants to leverage agents, they can just connect to Otomato. In like an hour, they have their running agents that will do work for their products. The Otomato token will be used to have discounts on protocol fees. So we will have fees on Otomato, obviously. That's going to be mostly performance fees. So if you deposit, let's say, $10,000 on Aave and you generate $1,000 out of that, we'll take a cut on the generated amount. Then a small cut on the swap fees as well. So that kind of fees. The token holders will benefit from those fees. We will have a revenue share with them. Then we also have a governance. An example could be voting for integrations. So today, Otomato needs to integrate platform, right? We are basically an aggregator of all the platforms you can have on DeFi. If you want to use Aave, we need to integrate Aave on Otomato. So to prioritize that, we will enable people to choose some platforms they want to see on Otomato. And you can imagine bribing and all the concepts you have in DeFi today to incentivize people to vote for your projects to be listed on Otomato. Then obviously those AI features, etc., is not free for Otomato. So that's going to be paid feature. And if you have tokens, you just get credit. You will get credits to access features for free. That's some examples. We have many use cases coming, but yeah, I will detail it.
Okay. And I don't know if you can answer this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. When is the expected token launch? And also in terms of revenues, I know you probably can't answer these questions, but I have to ask them. When do you expect some of these events to happen?
I'm sorry, that's not fully defined yet. Obviously, it depends on the market as well. That's hard to predict the market. So.
Sure. Okay. No, that's fine. But you're well sort of on the way because the product is obviously launched. People can get access to it. So you're really at the start now of getting the product out there and on that path to revenue generating and the inevitable token launch. Can you talk about how the revenue model will work? Is it going to be a subscription based? People are going to pay to use the service?
So that's not fully defined, to be honest. We are just defining that with the first users, realizing how they use it, what would make sense, and define that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, just to finish off then, in terms of what we can expect throughout the course of this year here, in terms of news flow from both Otomato, but also perhaps Coinsilium and your relationship here with Otomato. What are some of the key, let's say, milestones that you're both watching out for? So, Clement, let me ask you first, and I'll give Eddie the last word. So, some of the key milestones from the product point of view.
Yeah. So, I would say the first thing is obviously the AI integration, which is not live on Otomato today. So, you can create agents, but not AI agents. That should come out like in a month or two max. We are testing it internally. Then the marketplace launch, which is when people will be able to share their agents and make money from it. That's the two big milestones that will come.
Okay, excellent. And Eddie, what are you looking out for then? I mean, aside from those two key points from Otomato's point of view, what are Coinsilium keeping their eye on?
So yes, in addition of kind of the functions of the product, we are keeping an eye on the like the general marketing, the appeal of users to join as a community. So we're going to look at the community metrics, how many people are using it, the traction they get from the market. I think this pitch competition conferences can help a lot with that. There have been big names retweeting or commenting about this, so I think that can help especially in the first few months of the launch. So we're going to keep a look on that and make sure to assist Otomato with our multiple network contacts as well.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you both very much for your time. Clement from Otomato, and of course, Eddie Trabier, the CEO of Coinsilium. Thank you both for your time.
Thank you very much.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like, or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.